So we started talking about like you talked about the circadian rhythms and with like tribes, and that everyone's kind of got their own circadian rhythms where some people were in the wee hours and some people will wake up later and stuff. How much is it biological versus environmental? Like does your sleep pattern change based off from, like, I know when I was younger, my parents, like, it's like you guys are going to bed at 9 and I don't care how tired you are. How much does it play in environment and how much does it play in biological, like how we've developed this as humans?
Oh, I mean, both are always in interplay.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. So I think, especially now we have this wonderful technology, which is great, right? We have phones at our disposal. We have light all the time. So I think it's a combination of the two. You do have your natural propensity where, if you had no schedule, nothing to do. And I always tell people, like, if you have an extended vacation, that's usually getting a sense of like, okay, how do you sleep on an extended vacation? That usually gives you a sense of like what your natural propensity is. But we have jobs, we have responsibilities, we have kids, we have school, we have whatever. So all of those things actually then put parameters on what we can do within our natural propensity. So it's a great question, but I think it's so tough to say,
The chicken or the egg kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Cause I think I think it's a combination of the two that affect it. But like I said, if people are like, I really am curious what I naturally do. I'm like, take a month-long vacation and see what you do. And that gives you a sense of what your natural rhythm is.
Yeah. And for kids, is it, for sleep, it's got to be really important though, like just setting a certain time. Like, and you work in pediatrics, is that something that you try to talk to parents about, where it's like, this is bedtime, this is when the kids got to go to sleep, and this is when the lights are off, everything's got to calm down a little bit?
Yeah, kids really, really do well with routine. And I think, especially this pandemic, as we've all been struggling to survive, and a lot of people's routines have been kind of thrown off, I think have shown how much more kids struggle when they don't have routine. So there's a certain amount of sleep that every kid needs. The younger you are, the more you need. As you get older, it gets less. So for instance, a newborn is 14 to 18 hours in a 24-hour period. Like, they're constantly sleeping. And as they get older, that number goes down. So I do tell parents, and like, it's really important for kids to have a regular sleep and wake cycle. Like, my parents are the same way. They said, it's bedtime, go to bed. But I don't want to. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So I think, there's a little bit of fear of missing out, right? Kids want to keep playing, but I think they really do thrive when they know they have a set wake time, they have a set sleep time, and they know that they're going to get enough sleep in between. So I really tell parents, knowing it's easier said than done. So I always tell parents, no judgment. This is tough. We're all just kind of doing the best we can. But I do try to just prioritize and say, hey, if you can, that routine is really, really vital for your kids, and honestly for adults too. We all benefit from routines.
Of course, yeah. And with kids, everyone goes through kind of a bad sleep schedule, right? Like, at some point, your kid's going to be fussy. There's going to be a point where, my kid just doesn't want to get to sleep, or, is my kid sleeping too much? What for parents out there who may be listening, when is it considered an impairment? Because kids can't really say like, I'm having a tough time sleeping, or maybe they have droopy eyes or something like that. What are some things that parents can maybe look out for to be like, oh, maybe my kid needs some help?
Oh, that's such a great question. I will say parents are, first of all, really good at picking this up. It could be very subtle things. So I always tell parents, trust your instincts. I think if you feel like something's off with your kid, something might be off with your kid. So, and sometimes it could be something subtle. It's the same things that we see with adults. The mood is a little bit off, right? They're a little more irritable. They're snapping at you about little things. Really, any kid that you have to drag out of bed, I always tell them, like, especially like 6, 7-year-olds, they should jump out of bed ready to go, for the most part. So I think if it's a struggle to wake up in the morning, that's usually a sign that sleep isn't restorative. Attention, having issues, paying attention in school, often. And granted, I know we're on Zoom and it's been tough for a lot of parents, but, I think if you feel like it's out of the ordinary, for your child to pay attention, I think that could be a sign. I think also, again, if you notice that your child, when they are sleeping, they're very restless sleeper, the blankets are everywhere, they're tossing pillows in their sleep, they're snoring, they're sweating, they're just making a lot of noise and sounds, like that could be actually a sign that there's something wrong with their sleep as well.